There's something you may have noticed recently. Civics and the understanding of the way our government works has kind of taken a back seat in the education system for quite some time, with people improperly identifying not just our type of government, but just being able to delineate what the three branches of government are and what they do. And those are the very basic elementary things that people should understand about how their government works. They don't seem to. And I found an article to go along with this, courtesy of my friend Lou Wasserman's Ghost. So let's dive into this because I think we may have stumbled upon what's going on. So, a republic, if you can remember it, is the way this is titled by the author, and civics education continues its precipitous decline. Let's say that's 100% accurate. So, as we get closer to the selection of our leaders and the season around it, it reaches a fever pitch. A poll of a different kind has tracked our nation's precipitous decline in history and civics education. Last year, the nation's report card, a biannual study put out by the National Center for Education Statistics on the basis of a nationally administered standardized test, found that only 13% of American 8th grade students were proficient in history, while just 22% showed proficiency in physics. Folks, that's less than a quarter of our youth that basically understand what makes their government go. Earlier this month, the American Council of Trustees and Alumni released a report titled Losing America's Memory 2.0. Indeed, and we're well on our way. A data point survey administered in May and June, measuring over 3,000 college students' responses to 35 multiple choice questions on civics related to historical topics and opinion questions pertaining to citizenship. The results were nauseating, according to the article, and they were already nauseating to me. Among the study's 28 civics and histories questions that had definite right and wrong answers, only 2 had a correct response rate of over 70%, while correct answers to 15 questions registered at the 40% or below. I'm disgusted. Our future leaders don't seem aware of many of our past and present ones, or their successes and failures, I would guess, but that's me editorializing. Only 27% appear to know that the president of the Senate is the sitting vice president, the president pro tem, correctly choosing Kamala Harris as their response, while just 31% are aware that James Madison is known as the father of the Constitution, and 32% know that the Constitution was written in 1787. A grim 35% correctly identified Mike Johnson as the Speaker of the House of Representatives, despite the recent news blitz around his election to replace the ousted Kevin McCarthy. And with a mere 32% knowing that the legislative branch of the government has the constitutional power to declare war. Just 37% identified John Roberts as the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, an office that he's held for nearly 20 years. Only 40% picked the right answer about the length of elected terms of office in the House and Senate, 2 and 6 years. Despite 2 presidential impeachments within the last 5 years, both of which saturated the news and were televised, a surprisingly low 32% know that the Senate conducts the impeachment trials. Pure insanity. Civic rights questions also took quite a beating. Only 32% of respondents know what the writ of habeas corpus protects citizens from illegal imprisonment, not an uncommon concern among college students these days. No kidding. Just 29% could identify 1971 as the year that the voting age was lowered to 18, which made a lot of sense because there were a lot of people that were, well, too young to be able to influence who the leaders were who were constantly sending them to war. Despite massive public and institutional emphasis on the legacy of slavery, only 28% of college students know that it was abolished by the 13th Amendment, At the same time, 53% of respondents to a subjective question asking what forms of speech the government should be allowed to censor and punish named unspecified hate speech, while 47% approved of government action against racial slurs, despite robust legal precedents forbidding such action under the First Amendment's free speech. By the way, this goes on and doesn't get better. According to the Rand Corporation study released in 2019, only 32% of surveyed social studies teachers in public high schools believed that it was absolutely essential for the students to know facts. Know facts about American history. Yeah, because it goes against their narrative. This is the problem with putting activists as school teachers. Anyway. Slightly more than half of teachers still thought it essential for students to know at least conceptually about such bedrock constitutional principles as federalism, separation of powers, and checks and balances. In other words, nearly half did not, and given the ACTA results, they have clearly been planning their own classroom lessons accordingly, not to instruct the students in the basics. Again, this article is brilliantly written at city.journal.org. You can find it there and be equally disgusted as I am now. And frankly, I believe that you will be. If you haven't noticed, we have a shocking number of people in this world that are just plain ignorant to how the government works, nor what their rights are, nor seem to have any interest in not just being aware of them, but for defending them. And they're constantly seeking lowest common denominator treatment for each and everything that comes across their daily lives. They can't be troubled anymore because they now live in an administrative nanny state that I think is absolutely disgusting. I'm not sure how you feel. I'd like to know, which is what the comment section for is down below. I'm sure you can tell me quite eloquently all of the things that seem to be lacking in today's education and all of the things that seem to be at these institutions that should be completely absent from them. I don't believe any of the things being taught at the college level are mandatory or necessary because they don't seem to involve just the basic survival elements that keep you from getting into a lot of trouble in life. Civics should be mandatory. You should have to know by 8th grade just all of the basics of government in order to pass. We have to stop lowering the bar of success so that we actually get some people of merit in the world that will live high-quality lives as citizens and contribute to that society. I don't know. Let me know if your thoughts differ. Again, let me know your thoughts down below. As always, a quick reminder, if you're not already subscribed, please do so. If you don't mind these occasional conversations about the broader world around us and not a complete focus on popular culture. Although I would say we would not have our culture without our system of government, and we would be pretty sad indeed if the whole world were basically painted the same colors. It's very true. Once again, hit that like button at the bottom, share this video out there, and as usual, be sure to take care of yourself, take care of others, and until next time, see ya.